What is going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel, and I am here from California. Obviously, it looks very different behind me. That is because my wife and I are enjoying our holiday. We are in California visiting her family, and so, yes, let's do it. Let's talk about the season finale of The Mandalorian. This episode was titled Redemption, and really it was a redemption for these characters. I'm going to dissect the things that I enjoyed about this final episode. But before I do, I just want to let you guys know over there in the comment section, go ahead in the chat, go put what you thought about this episode. I really love to know your guys' thoughts as well. If you have not subscribed to my channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below so that way you can stay up to date with everything that I'm going to be doing on my channel moving forward, which I'll kind of get to that towards the end of this video. So let's talk about this final episode of The Mandalorian. And sorry, I'm going to have to adjust because it's a very different setting and yeah. Anyway, this episode we get to see Mando and his group of, I guess, friends, even though at this point they're not really friends, I would say, except for Cara Dune. But we get to see Cara Dune, IG-11, Grief, and Mando himself as they have to try to get out of the situation that the last episode put them in with Moff Gideon and the stormtroopers who are keeping them hostage so that way they can get back the child, which is Baby Yoda. And I'll say this, everything that they did in this episode worked for me. I love the way that this episode started off. We get those two stormtroopers on the speeder bikes. One of them is voiced by Jason Sudeikis. That is a very awesome, cool thing that they did. And we get this interaction between them, this conversation where, one of them wants to see what this child looks like, and the other one is kind of just like the leader of the two, basically telling him what has been happening and how Moff Gideon has very little patience. And so you see this interesting dynamic between these two stormtroopers, and I loved it. I've heard some people complain about it online, saying it's a little too hammy, it's a little too animated, but I actually really enjoyed that because it was something unique, something fresh, and it was something to kind of give us a little bit of a pause and a little bit of breathing room for where the episode went after this point in time. And so I really like the dynamic. I love that we get to a very interesting look at the stormtroopers after the fall of the Empire, and the little banter back and forth between the characters worked very well. And I always love Jason. I've been a big fan of Jason Sudeikis, so anything that he's in or a part of, I just think it's kind of nice that he gets to be in a Star Wars property, maybe to a smaller degree and a smaller magnitude, but still being important and influential enough to be a steady player within this episode. And then we got all the cool stuff with IG-11, and I gotta say, K2SO, you had your ride, but I think IG-11 is now my favorite droid of all time. What they did with him in this episode was my favorite arc that they have really explored in this show, other than Mando and Baby Yoda themselves. I really love this arc that they give with IG-11, him being a nursing droid, him coming over and beating up these stormtroopers, absolutely demolishing them because they were, abusing Baby Yoda, which was very sad to see. It was really, really tough to see that, and I know all of us were pretty disheartened by the way that those stormtroopers were treating Baby Yoda. It sucked. I wanted to just go and beat up those guys so bad, but IG-11 gives them their just desserts, which I thought was absolutely incredible, and it was such a great action sequence. You can really tell that Taika Waititi directed this episode because it had his flavor, it had his comedy, it had his style of action where a lot is going on, and you can see everything that's going on. But it also felt like craftiness. Like it felt like someone who had so much experience before was able to cultivate and direct this final episode the way that Jon Favreau had imagined it. And that's really what it comes down to. The way that it's executed, not from just pages on the script, the written word by Jon Favreau, but also the way it's translated on screen. It works perfectly. I love the writing. I love the directing. And a lot of these sequences, especially the beginning sequence with these two stormtroopers on the speeder bikes and their banter back and forth, that would not have worked if it was any other director, not a Taika Waititi or someone of that gravitas, someone of that experience. It might have come off a little too animated, a little too ham-fisted. But that's what I loved about it, is that you can tell Taika Waititi has a style and he has an expertise in crafting scenes to make them feel appropriate in a live action setting, even though maybe the dialogue or the way it's written isn't necessarily all that amazing or doesn't have the potential to be something amazing. And I just really have the utmost respect for Taika Waititi and especially Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. I mean, what they've been able to do in bringing the show to the screen has been absolutely incredible. It's something unique, something fresh, but it still gives us a little bit of that flavor that is nostalgic, a little bit of that flavor that is remnants of old that we've seen in previous Star Wars properties, and being able to amplify it and change it to a new direction and to fit a new audience. So I absolutely loved that about this episode. You can really feel Taika Waititi's directorial prowess on full blast and center within this episode. I loved the stuff with IG-11 just absolutely coming through in the clutch, going through and just wrecking so many stormtroopers, killing so many stormtroopers. This was, to me, the most violent episode because there's a lot of action. There's a lot of foreground stuff that we get to see involving these characters in the way that they interact with one another, in the way that they try to get out of this dicey situation, and they use force to do so. And to me, it works extremely well because Taika Waititi's direction. Again, if he was not directing this episode, I feel like the action would kind of be maybe a bit more boring, less emotional, maybe a little bit more heavy and weighted, as opposed to this, where it just kind of feels fun and vibrant, and it has a sense of identity and emotion behind it, where you are really truly pulling for these characters and really loving and being satisfied by these action sequences that are on screen. It's absolutely incredible. And this was exactly what I wanted to see from a season finale. Is this the best episode in my opinion? No, I still think episode 7 is better. But I absolutely loved what they were able to do with crafting the action, crafting the heaviness, and making it not feel heavy, not making it feel weighted, but making it feel balanced, making it feel like it's appropriate and that it does exactly what it strives to do, and it succeeds it by a lot. So I absolutely have just fallen in love with this season as a whole because of these last couple of episodes, how it's been able to pull me back in when I kind of lost myself a little bit in the middle and was kind of getting disinterested. So yeah, there's a lot to dissect in terms of the way that the story's crafted, the technical achievements and aspects of this episode. But this episode as a whole worked so well because it was so satisfying to watch. And it actually gave us some intrigue into the character of Mando. It gave us some intrigue a little bit into Baby Yoda. And it's really answered a lot of questions as well as to certain villains that we could be seeing moving forward. Moff Gideon by Giancarlo Esposito is awesome. I love this character. I love how villainous he is. I love the fact that he is a guy that wants something so desperately, he'll do anything. He doesn't care. And one thing that I really loved about this episode is it really felt more and more like a Western. And I love the fact that in this particular episode, we get Giancarlo Esposito's character, Moff Gideon, telling this group that, look, you have betrayed us before. You took away our asset. And I'm not going to be a trustworthy person. You can't trust me. And I absolutely love that because it shows just how unwilling this guy is to give mercy and to be someone who is just, because he's not. He wants what he wants. He's going to get it no matter what. He's going to be forceful if he needs to. And he shows his cards within this episode beautifully. So he is such a good villain, and they give him a lot to chew on here, where it really makes you very interested in this character moving forward. At least for me, I am looking forward to next season, as this guy is going to be the antagonist to our protagonist, which is the Mandalorian. And it's going to be a really nice contrast. And I really think that there could be a great rivalry between the two moving forward on this show. So I love all that stuff. I love the fact that we finally get a central villain. I love the fact that we also get some amazing action sequences, some great set piece work. I really just I think that this episode really made me fall in love with this show even more and kept me engaged and interested and that much more excited for season 2, because this is such a great way to end a season. This is how you do it. This is the appropriate way. It gives us enough for a conclusion, but it also opens the doors at what could possibly happen moving forward. And I know we're going to talk a lot, and I'm going to talk a lot about the dark saber. Okay, that is something that I will be talking about, and maybe I'll even do videos in the future theorizing what that could mean moving forward, and also maybe doing some history work into the character of Moff Gideon and how he was able to get the dark saber, which I loved. All that was fantastic fan service. That is how you use fan service. Okay, J.J. Abrams, write that down. That is how you do fan service in a franchise like this. You don't give us a ton of it. You give us those small doses that work. I'm still obviously bitter about The Rise of Skywalker, but I absolutely loved this episode. Everything, again, from the beginning with the stormtroopers banter back and forth, that was awesome. I loved that the way that it's shot, the technical aspect of the camera work, and the certain shots that Taika Waititi gets from this episode. For example, there's a shot where it's focusing on Giancarlo Esposito as he's giving dialogue to the characters, and the camera is slowly panning in. That is such a power shot. To me, that shows that this guy is not to be messed with. This is our central villain. This is what we've been missing in the story from here on out. Because Werner Herzog, intimidating person, he's an intimidating actor, but he was not really the central villain per se. There was always like antagonist through every episode, but there was never one central guy. And now we finally have it in this character of Moff Gideon, which I could go on for days talking about how much I love this character and how much I am fascinated by him. This is exactly what I was hoping for in this show. This show has really exceeded my expectations. This final episode gave me so much satisfaction, so much joy. And there were moments in this episode where I kind of just, I felt to myself, this is why I love Star Wars. This is exactly why I have fallen in love with this franchise. And I just appreciated how unique, how creative, and how different this is than other things that we've gotten in the past few years. And so that to me all worked. It worked extremely well. And I just am so excited for the future of where Star Wars can go, especially on a medium like Disney Plus, especially doing something that is a live action television show as opposed to just making it cinematic, because this show feels cinematic. It feels like you're watching it on the big screen, but you're watching it on the small screen. There is something so amazing about doing that and getting a group of creatives and a group of directors like Deborah Cho and Taika Waititi and Cary Fukunaga and basically having them craft this vision for what Jon Favreau is writing and show running. And it's absolutely amazing. It's breathtaking. Lucasfilm, do me a favor. If you're watching this, but you're not, you need to make sure that you let Deborah Cho, Jon Favreau, Taika Waititi do whatever they want in the Star Wars universe. And maybe not whatever they want, but you give them projects to do. These are the people, these are the creatives you need to work with. Let them be able to tell the stories that other people are incapable of telling. And I know a lot of people love J.J. Abrams. I know there are people that are big supporters of Rian Johnson. I love Rian Johnson a lot as a filmmaker. J.J. Abrams is a little frustrating for me. I think that the dude is just not a very good narrative storyteller. These are the three people that you let into the Star Wars universe. You let them direct different things. Give Deborah Cho a movie. Honestly, she has done such an amazing job. The two best episodes still to me are the two episodes she directed. She is so good. She's so creative. And this whole bias that Hollywood has about how women should not be directors is ridiculous. Look at what she did. This is better than most of the other dudes who do television. She is so incredibly gifted. It doesn't matter what her gender is. You let her make those stories. Let her do what she wants to do. She is so good and gifted. Taika Waititi is incredibly crafty as a director. Jojo Rabbit was just the beginning for me this year. I mean, this really put him over the top for the year for me. He's winning this year, doing everything that no one probably expected him to do. And it's just absolutely incredible. You can say whatever you want about the way that each episode might not blend extremely well together. There's one episode for me that felt outside, or that was kind of weird that outside of the entire season as a whole, but that's it. This really felt like it merged very well, very naturally, and seamlessly with the 7 episodes prior to this. And there are a lot of questions that we have based on certain characters and certain resolves that possibly never got resolved. And I'll also say this. One thing that I really loved about this episode, I'll tell you what, the Forger for the Mandalorian Creed, she is freaking amazing. She's a bad A, okay? She can take anybody down. I love that scene where she takes down like 5 stormtroopers, I think it is, at once, 4 or 5. Just absolutely amazing. I love things like this. This is what gets me excited about Star Wars because it moves the needle. It's doing something different, but making it feel like genuine Star Wars. Give me this. Don't give me Rise of Skywalker, Rise of fan service that basically just tries to appease all of the audience, tries to retcon a bunch of old, Star Wars takes, things that maybe were, heavily debated. Don't try to be the appease all statement. Make content, make creative decisions that make this franchise go into a different and new direction. That's what you need to do. This did that for me. This is by far probably my favorite thing Disney has produced. I love Rogue One. I love it to death. That is still the best movie that I think Disney has produced since the purchase of Lucasfilm. But I absolutely love this show. I love what they've done with it. I love the fact that they are giving it this room to really grow into its own. I love that the pacing feels absolutely perfect. A lot of people said, even me included, there was some moments, there was few episodes here, after season 1 it felt like after episode 1 it felt like episodes 2 through 6 just kind of like filled around a little bit. Let's go here, let's do this. But it all comes back to pay off. This is all set up, and that's what I loved about this show. The show really took its time. It really understood itself and where it wanted to go, and that's why it feels so small scale, because it doesn't need to go on some vast, huge journey that, is epic, and it scopes out the, a entire section of the galaxy. That's never really been the case with Star Wars, and you don't need to make that the case now. So I just absolutely loved that they make this show the way that they do, that it's small enough in scale, but also still large enough to feel cinematic. And I'm floored by what we've been able to see. I love I love this show. I love this show. And now that it's over, I'm trying to think of like, well, what's next to watch on Disney Plus? I'm gonna keep my Disney Plus, obviously. I mean, my wife and I, we enjoy Disney movies and stuff, so it's a great benefit to have it. Togo is a movie I haven't watched yet. I mean, Encore is interesting. The World According to Jeffrey Goldblum. I've only watched like the first 3 episodes, so like there's stuff to watch, but it's not like this where after this season's over, I'm gonna continue to go back and watch it. Believe me, but it just to me, it's like okay, I'm sitting on the edge of my seat. What is next? Give me more, and I'm happy to say that fall 2020. We're getting more, baby. Jon Favreau has announced it through Twitter. So I'm really excited. I think if you continue to have this trajectory, continue to do something down this route with these characters, and you give me something that expands upon this story for season 2, I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. I'm really, really excited. Let's just talk about how awesome Baby Yoda is, because we already know Baby Yoda's cute. He's dang cute, cuter than anything I've ever seen in anything. He's the cutest thing in movie history. But how about the fact that he is such a boss, okay? He can literally use the Force and have flames that are going towards him and his friends literally go in the opposite direction to the guy blowing the flames. That's incredible. I loved that sequence when he stands up. It's so epic. That is the most epic shot. I want that shot on my wall. That is how epic it is. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. And I ate it up. Was it fan service? Yeah, probably. But I freaking loved it. I loved it. Also, like I said, we got to see the Mandalorian. We got to see Mando's face. We finally got to see his face. We got to hear his name. I think his name, I need to look into it. It's like Jin or Drin or Yin, or I can't remember completely off the top of my head, but we got to see his face, which I knew we would. Pedro Pascal's face. No surprise there. I mean, just look up Pedro Pascal. Everyone had asked me, well, what does he look like? I wonder what he looks like. It's like, just look up Pedro Pascal, the actor, on Google, and you can find a bunch of pictures of Pedro Pascal. And yeah, he looks just like Pedro Pascal. I mean, that's who it is. That's who plays him. So to me, that wasn't really like a big surprise. I knew that was coming at some point during the season. I wonder, though, if it's going to be more relevant in season 2 that we get to see him with his helmet off. Where is going to be the state of these characters? What about, Moff Gideon? How is he going to kind of rebuild a little bit off of his loss from this season? I'm so fascinated by these characters. I'm so fascinated by the show. I'm fascinated with where they could go next. And to me, that just I love that. I love that I'm really, after Rise of Skywalker and after all the crap we dealt with that, and my not really love, or my not liking of the film. I don't really know how to, it's not like dislike, but it's hard to explain. I don't like the movie, but I don't dislike it. It's weird. I'm in the middle. And then we get this, and I'm like, okay. Lucasfilm, you lost me for just a little bit, but I'm back. I'm in the fold. All right. I'm not going to doubt. And that's probably just me being a big Star Wars fanboy per se, and because I'm a huge Star Wars fan. This franchise means everything to me, but it's like, maybe I'm being too optimistic, but I cannot wait. I can't wait for the future of Star Wars. And I really hope that they have taken notes. I really hope that Kathleen Kennedy, Lucasfilm, understands why the fans love this show. Why are we eating it up every single week? And ultimately, I feel like if they can understand that logic and that reasoning, then I think we're going to get content that feels very similar to this. And that way we can continue to get more and more excited about it. So that's just my take on everything, guys. I've talked for like 25 minutes now. I absolutely love this episode, as you can't tell. I'm not going to explain every single detail of what I loved, because I really loved the entire thing. I felt like, though, if there was one negative, and it's not really a negative to me, I understand, why it went the way that it did. It felt like the last 2 minutes, or the last minute and a half, I'll even say, before all of the dark saber and Moff Gideon Moff Gideon escaping his TIE fighter. Before all that stuff, when you have the resolution between Mando, Clara Dune, Grief, and Baby Yoda, obviously, it all felt very fast, and some of the dialogue kind of felt a little off to me, where it's almost like they're forcing a resolution with these characters very prematurely, because it's like he just takes down Moff Gideon's TIE fighter, and then all of a sudden Grief Karga comes up to him and he's like, "Oh, Mando, your rate just went up. That was amazing, Mando. Mando, you're the best. You're my best client." And it's just kind of weird a little bit, but I understand why they did that. It's like you have to find a way to resolve these characters and kind of their journeys at this point in time, so that way they can go on their own separate paths. And I get that. I get all that, but it's like a little bit rushed in the feeling and the execution of it. I don't know if that's just me. That's it. And that's not really any like stain or any like really huge negative on this episode, because again, I loved every single minute of it. I was eating it up. And I even love the fact that we get to see more of his past and, that experience he had when he was a kid, which a lot of it was kind of similar and pretty much the same exact beats as other episodes, but I loved it. I love that we get the understanding of this character more so, and why he has this affinitive hate for droids, which I already knew, but it's cool. And he gets his jetpack, and there's a lot of cool things about this episode that I could continue to rattle off on, but I don't think that's going to help you guys or help me, honestly. But yeah, I loved it. And I want to know your guys' thoughts down below in the comments. Make sure you guys let me know how you felt about this season finale, and how you felt about this season in general of The Mandalorian. Are you excited for season 2? Are you not? All your thoughts, let me know down below in the comment section. I have a lot of stuff coming out very soon, guys. Be patient with me. I am in California right now, so it's very difficult for me to make like great production content, I guess you could say, or great quality content. I really am kind of at will right now to my situation, and I'm going to be here until Friday. So I will have my best of the year, worst of the year videos. They are coming, but they will probably be out by, I don't know, probably by next weekend. At the extreme earliest. There's still movies that I also want to catch up on too. I'm not going to lie to you guys. There are movies that I haven't seen yet that I feel like will impact one of these lists, and so I'm going to watch it. I'm at 91 films as well. I really want to get to 100 movies that I've watched this year. That's one of my goals. So just be patient with me, guys. Those videos will be coming. I promise those will be up as soon as possible. Hopefully by next weekend, I will have those videos up and ready. As well, I will be doing reviews for The Two Popes. Haven't gotten around to watching the film yet. I will watch it either tonight or tomorrow, or maybe even Monday morning. But that video will come very soon as well. I'm also planning on going to the theater while I'm here in California. I want to go see Uncut Gems and Little Women, so I will have reviews of those movies as well very soon. And 1917 is a movie I do want to watch as well. So it's going to be hard. I don't know when I'm going to get my best of, worst of lists up, because I'm at liberty right now to when some of these movies are going to show in theaters. And that's what the most frustrating part is for me, is that I'm at the will and liberty of the theaters around me. So I'm in California, but I'm not in Los Angeles. So some movies I can't even see. So it's like, well, that sucks. And if it gets to a point where some movies I just am going to have to keep off the list and have them on for a separate time, later time, and you're just going to have to follow me on Letterboxd, to know where that movie is, then so be it. That's what's going to happen. I'm not going to be able to watch everything this year. It's just not going to be possible. So those videos are coming. I also trying to think of what other videos off the top of my head. Oh, I will have up very soon within this upcoming week, probably Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. I'm still trying to figure it out. I will have my most disappointing films of 2019 up because at this point in time, there is no real movie that I'm super excited for that could really let me down expectation wise. I really feel like I have a good list for that. And by the way, spoiler alert, Rise of Skywalker is going to be number 1 on that list. But it's Star Wars, so obviously it's going to be if I don't like it. And then I'll also have my most anticipated films of 2020, which I'm very excited for that video. I'm still working on that list as well. So a lot of content coming, guys. I also have Oscar stuff. I want to talk about some Oscar contenders, possibly trying to do a predictions video or like, I guess, who I would nominate. I don't know. I'm going to do all of that stuff. There's going to be a lot of content coming, guys. Just be patient and understand that right now I'm in California, so I'll try to get to as much as I can while I'm here. But at the same time, I'm also trying to spend time with family and enjoy my vacation, I guess you could say. Also, I hope you like my Pizza Planet shirt. It's pretty sweet, right? But anyway, guys, that'll do it for this video. Make sure you guys drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Again, subscribe to my channel for more content just like this. I really appreciate all your guys' support. I mean, this has been absolutely amazing. Whether I have 5 subscribers, whether I have 1 subscriber, whether I have 140 subscribers, I just absolutely love talking about film, and I love that you guys are interested in my content as well. So I thank you so much for following me throughout this past like year and a half, I guess, or almost 2 years now, which it's kind of crazy that I'm only at 140 subscribers at 2 years. It's not great, but I really hope that you guys enjoy my content just as much as I enjoy making it. Anyway, I'll see you guys later, and as always, may the force be with you.